Hi, welcome back to another episode of my writing chronicles. Those clips you saw just now were from a few days ago. It is a Monday, and I am struggling to start writing. I feel kind of torn about whether to push through and kind of work on my project or just languish in this state of doing nothing and kind of hope to feel better soon. Generally, this kind of builds to a point where I feel like I can't ignore it anymore, and then I start working. But today, I don't know, that pressure is just not coming. Maybe it's a sign that I've done a lot of work. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how this period of writing chronicle unfolds, and I'll keep you updated. Okay, so I just finished with that writing session that you saw me start in the last clip. It has taken me a good 3 days to get through the next bit that I wanted to write. I got kind of stuck, and a lot of the time I just spent trying to start things and then not scrapping them exactly, but just not getting very far and then stopping. So yeah, I don't know that the stuff I've done with that chapter will work once I'm in revision mode. I had to introduce a new character, and I made a lot of decisions that are a little out of the box with the kind of dialogue, the way she talks. So I don't know whether I'll end up liking it when I read back over it, or whether it'll need to be edited. The thing I'm most concerned about, I think, is whether it's going to be believable that this character acts this way. So yeah, a bit of a question mark about that. But feeling good that I finally finished that section and have gotten over that hurdle. Yeah, the writing chronicles continue. I'm having a late night indecision crisis. Do you ever get caught in that state where you want to start doing something and you have the time to do it and you have all the resources and everything is ready for you to start doing it, but the actual act of starting just feels too hard? Maybe it's too late at night and I should just go to bed. Probably I'll see you tomorrow.
Take you there. Search New South Wales train link and book your ticket today.
So I've been working a while now. Like over 2 hours for what ended up being 750 words, and I have no idea why it's taken so long. Like, part of it was like editing what I'd written in my last session to try and get it to a better place. Part of it was writing new stuff, but I felt like I spent that amount of time, but I didn't really clock into actually like a flow state, if that makes sense. It just was struggle street the whole way through. So I'm stopping there, and I'm gonna pick up again with this tomorrow and try and get to that 1,000 mark. I try to get that 1,000 mark every time I do a writing session, but today it just wasn't happening. So yeah, nothing I can do about it. I also think like what I wrote, I think it's going to need a lot of going over. Like it didn't feel like good writing, which is frustrating. But yeah, I suppose you have the bad days to remind you that the good days are good. And you've got to write through them. Yeah. Okay, so it's now a Saturday afternoon, and I'm going to try and bang out this final 200, 300 words to get to 52,000. Yeah, we'll see how long it takes. Okay, see that little green bar? We are finished with chapter 25 and on to, where's my cursor? Chapter 26. We are sitting at 52,044 words. Yay, done. Okay, so I realized I haven't really talked much about what this project I'm working on is about, and that seems like a bit of an oversight, so I thought I'd correct that now. My second novel is a historical fiction novel. It's called The Go-Between Girl, and the initial idea was to do something that kind of was an alternate history, which is like where you take a particular historical event and flip what happens and then look at the implications of what that does to society and how that changes the world. And the event I've chosen to focus on is the Roe versus Wade decision. And so I'm kind of, in the first half of the novel, writing the lead up to that decision through the eyes of a character and whose life is kind of impacted by that because she's working for an underground abortion clinic. And then in the second half, kind of do a time jump to, you know, after there's been like that decision doesn't go through, so that it never happens. So society is kind of changed by that, I guess. I'm not really explaining it well, but anyway, I'm figuring it out as I go. But yeah, that's what I'm working on in all these writing clips, is that novel. And yeah, I'm getting there with it. I'm about to write the final chapter before I do the time jump, which feels like it's been a mammoth effort to get to. And I also feel like as I've gotten closer to that point in the story, the quality of writing, like I went back and did a pass through from the start when I was like at chapter 15, and I'm now at chapter 25. And obviously it's better when you have more times through something. So this draft 0 is not where I'd want it to be, but that's part of the process. Okay, so I finished reading Blob. My thoughts on it. I really liked the main character. She was engaging, she was fun, she was relatable. And up until the last maybe 30 pages, I was really happy with the book. And then the ending just, I mean, it was realistic, but I was really cheering for something positive to happen in her life, like some big breakthrough or some happy moment for the ending. And that just didn't kind of eventuate. It was more just like, oh, she learned some things, which I suppose is realistic, but maybe I just needed an epilogue where she was really happy or something to really make me feel good about, you know, her life being a mess and then getting better. Yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'd still recommend reading it. Like it's still a 4-star read for me, but yeah. So I was intending to film another writing session for this vlog and get another 1,000 words, but that kind of got hijacked by the fact that I've been sick for the past few days, and I'm just getting back to the point now where I can start doing stuff again. So this vlog is very disjointed, and the first half was filmed like a week ago, and the second half, the second little bit, is now today. And we're getting back to writing. The chapter I have to do is quite an important chapter. I can't remember what I said about it in the last clips, but I've kind of, while I've been sick, I've been thinking about it, and I've been quite intimidated by the prospect of starting it. But I think, you know, when you're not doing something, it always builds up in your mind to more than it is. So I just need to rip the Band-Aid off and get back to writing. Okay, so this is the update. I'm really happy with the way that writing session went. I don't know where I am in this chapter. I think kind of it's going to be a really long chapter, so I think maybe less than a third of the way through it, but happy to have finished that, and yeah, hopefully the flow of things in that writing session is a sign of things to come. Okay, so this is the end of this longer and more disjointed video. Yeah, hopefully you got something out of this, whether it was just, you know, a realistic portrayal of, you know, having to take time away from projects and coming back to them, because we all go through that. So hopefully, if that's you at the moment, that helped in some way and, you know, made you feel like you can come back to your project and still, you know, feel good about it and not feel guilty for having to, you know, take time for health or, you know, other reasons, because that happens to all of us. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.